Hi everyone! Welcome to Room and Board. My name is Chris George, so you probably know that. But if not, thanks for being here. I'm very excited because Trudvang arrived today. Now, I won this game. I won it. This was before I even started on YouTube. I entered a contest on Facebook about how to win a copy of the game, just like a base pledge of the game. And what you had to do was, and I'll probably talk about this more, let's start opening it up, and as I'm talking about it, opening up the box. What you had to do is you had to tag a friend. Oof, loud. You had to tag a friend, and you had to give them a Trudvang style name. And so I thought this was really cool. I kind of did a deep dive into the world of Trudvang, and I realized that there were like 9 different races, or 9 different like factions basically, and so I wanted to make one for all of them. And so I did. And so I did a real big deep dive into... Ooh, here we go. Let's get this out of the way. I did a pretty big deep dive into the world and into the lore of the world, and we ended up winning. And I'll go through and I'll get on Facebook. I'll find the post. It was on my phone, but I'm actually using my phone as the potential top-down shot. I'm trying a new thing of unboxings where, I actually show things. We're going to go with that. It might ruin the light of the front view, but we're probably not going to talk about the front view for too much longer. And also on my phone, I'm testing out a new microphone. You don't need to know about this stuff. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you're here just to hang out with me, and I appreciate it. So Trudvang was a real... let's look at the back of the box before we get into it. Trudvang has been a long time coming. There's going to be this little plastic sheet because you need to have the French on it. That's what they did for Massive Darkness. I like CMON games. I think CMON as a company has some issues, and people get mad at them quite an awful lot, but I like them. I've gotten upset at them quite an awful lot because of their customer service, but then I won this game, and that went a long way in terms of how crappy they were to me beforehand. And I realized that not everybody can win a game and get their goodwill back, but I feel very proud of my little entry into the Trudvang lore. And the coolest part about that contest was that your friend will then be in the game. Like, the character that you created will be an NPC in the game, and I think that's just like so cool. So my friend Zach, my good friend Zach, who's been on the channel before, you would have seen him in any of the Nemesis or Massive Darkness 2 content. He is going to be in the game as Vakarnir, Bridge Master of the Great Chasm, because his name's Zach Groombridge. So anyway, there was a lot of issues with this game, a lot of production issues. This was first backed in 2019, around July 2019, I believe, and is only arriving now in Canada at the very beginning of September 2022. It's a long time to wait for a game, and this is only the base box. They didn't send any of the extras, any of the stretch goals, or any of the expansions because they're still working on them and trying to print them out. They basically took this game and they said, listen, we're not happy with it. It's bad. It's bad, and we're going to take another whole year to redesign it. So this is the redesign, and I'm happy that they did that because now hopefully this game will be better than what I thought it was going to be. You want to get in the box, buddy? What is Trudvang? Well, according to the back of the box, it's a cooperative storytelling board game where players take on the role of heroes determined to stop the forces of darkness. Guided by the Book of Sagas and the Legends system, the story unfolds with no game master in a rich fantasy setting where your actions and choices directly affect the environment and its inhabitants in a living world. Based on the award-winning Trudvang Chronicles role-playing games by Riot Minds and concept and designed by Alvaro Tapia and Paul Bonner, the board game brings the myths, sagas, heroes, and enemies to life. And that's interesting because Eric Lang was originally, I think, involved in it in some capacity. And Eric Lang is one of my favorite designers, but he's no real mention of him there. This was around the time where he left working at Command as well. So maybe there was something to do with that, or mostly because to do with the redesign. But let's get into this game. The living element of the game is what really appealed to me. That the board has, as I'm sure we will find out, or these right here. The adventure sheet, free Command content. That's fine. Get that out of the way. These are a number of adventure sheets. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to talk about the board more right now, and maybe I'll cut back and forth from the top down. We'll get to this in a second. My point with the board is that the board is going to have these nice bunch of tokens. That's cool. And here's some board. That's what I want to talk about. Nope, that's to save your game. But there are these little, slidey folders in here as well. And then the board right here, we did it. Oh, that's cool. There are these little sleeves that will happen. Basically, you're going to be able to put different events into these sleeves. And oh, nice. It's only a 4 size board. That's not big at all. That's great. Maybe it can't get in on the pan on the top there. There we go. The cool thing about this board is that these little slots, cards will get slotted in them, and so the choices that you make, or at least this is how it's been pitched, the choices that you make get to live ever present on the board and exist from season to season. It's kind of the same with your legends. Your characters will level up to a certain point and then they'll graduate Gloomhaven style and become legends, and then the next time you take someone of that character class, you'll get access to all of the legendary exploits. So that's mostly what I'm excited about for this game. Not necessarily having another campaign game that I have to go through, but the actual legend content that exists, and the implications that this is sort of a way to make it legacy without needing it to be legacy, without you needing to have the same people playing every time. You can play these sort of one-shot campaigns or go through this book of sagas. Now, in the stretch goals, there are more one-shot things, and so this is again just like the base game, but this isn't. A few kind of scuffs and scratches, honestly, on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. If the light's good enough. It's fine, but it's just being nitpicky. And I don't think that was from me just doing this, to be clear. Put that off to the side. But yeah, I think that aspect of it is really cool. And then what else is kind of neat is this, going back to what we were looking at ahead of time. There's going to be all these little story points and all these story sheets. So you have adventure sheet C1 and then adventure sheet C20. And so you're going to put them into these little, I'm not going to punch that out right now because there's a back on it that, oh, maybe I have to pull this out. Oh no, you just have to punch it out and punch it to the front because there's a little back on the sheet. Yeah, I'm not going to punch this right now. I'm going to read the rule book and figure out what to do. But basically, you're going to slide the adventure sheets in, and then it will be revealed A, B, C, D. And then when you get to a spot, you can then reveal this other little section of it and then read what it is. So that way, the story doesn't get spoiled for you. You still have the choice, should we do this, shouldn't we do this? And it saves you flipping through a giant book, basically. It's just these are like the plot points that you are going out on the map and exploring. Take a quick look at the tokens. It looks like these are tokens for your heroes as well, which is kind of cool. We've just got not too many tokens, honestly. These tokens, though, these are your runes, okay? These are your, oh, it's already kind of chipping. These are the runes. At its essence, this is going to be a bag building game. And these little rune tokens are going to be stuff that you will add to your bag. And feeling the quality of these, I'm happy I purchased the plastic tokens because I want to experience I want to make sure there's lots of longevity. But and this is another thing that just they just don't think. They just don't actually have a vision of how things are going to play out. Well, I paid for these plastic tokens. One, I'm gonna keep on unboxing while I talk about this. I paid for these plastic tokens. They're like $15 US, and because I knew it was a bag building, and I knew from my experience with Orléans, the other bag building game that I have and I've played a lot, I knew that these are some character sheets. It's kind of cool. Let's open those up. I knew that, you know, the oils on your finger, they give it a bit of wear, and if you want your game to remain in pristine condition, especially with a bag building game, I'm not one for deluxe components. I'm very cheap. If you haven't seen this channel before, sweet. Okay, these are all the same sort of. These are player sheets. They all have the same back. Sometimes they have different backs, which is kind of a nice touch, but they didn't do that for this one, so it's just the same back. Would have been cool to have different backs, and then you're gonna put your kind of level ups, your legend statuses, and like these will build out when you level up on the game. Anyway, because they were so behind in production, here's the rule book. Ooh. Oh, and then we have the big book of sagas as well. So you do have to turn to some things and see some pages. Let's look at the rule book first. Because you have to turn table of contents, legend of Trudvang. How many pages do we have? Oh, a nice summary on the back. See, that's so huge. That's always huge. A glossary, no index. I know a YouTuber or two will have something to say about that. And honestly, an index is really important, but this at least gives you the table of contents, so you know, hopefully you should be able to look everything up from there. There's the component count. Urki, Bludrugada. You know what? Honestly, worth purchasing just for those two names. 2 cleavers. Well, I take it back. That's not that original, is it? We'll have to see if there are 2 of them, or if he's just called 2 cleavers. I hope he's called 2 cleavers, just like 9 toes is called 9 toes. See, there's what I'm talking about. The points of interest board. You have the adventure board, which keeps track of the hero's journey, so that's kind of like your state, where it is. Anyway, CMON didn't think to even include the plastic tokens, which people will want to use for their bag building in the game. And also, the bag building isn't, the second point against that, is that everybody paid for these sorts of things, and then they really revamped a lot of the mechanics, and they knew they had to keep the bag building mechanic because people had bought these extra tokens, and they didn't want to like refund the money in this big revamp. If they were to change that bag building mechanic, that was like the big draw for a lot of people. You're drawing these runes is kind of a push your luck sort of situation. I'll keep flipping through this as we go along, and I'll try not to get distracted. I'll read this later. But I know that a lot of people were upset about these changes, and rightfully so, because it makes the bag building element less important. And so because it's less important, maybe you don't spend that extra money to purchase the additional runes. Honestly, feeling the quality of these cardboard tokens, I am very happy that I splurged for the runes. And again, I don't do deluxe that much. It just feels like that is not going to be satisfying to pull out of a bag. Maybe I've become a snob in my twilight years, because that's the age I'm heading into. Anyway, there's the rule book. Let's take a look at the Book of Sagas. There's not going to be too much more to... Oh, and let's take a look at the bags, too. There's not going to be too much more to look at. And then we'll take a look at the minis as well. So anyway, let's get that ASMR out of the way. Ooh, what's this in the back? Ooh, Adventure Map 1, Adventure Map 3. Ooh, see, these look cool. I don't know what they're used for, but I'm excited about them. Adventure Map 2, and I bet there's going to be... No, you saw that back already, you dumb idiot. I'm the dumb idiot, not you. You were ahead of me, I know that. The Book of Sagas. Child of Light introductions. These are like your introductions, and you are going to be reading different things and different entries as you go along. So these will be your decision points of the different scenarios, like C2, Thief of Darkwoods, if you get to there, web of deceit as we kind of scroll through. People are always so worried about showing these in terms of spoilers. Like, yeah, you're gonna pause the video and like look up every action, because no, you're not. You're not even gonna remember seeing this as it passed by because you were listening to me, or you won't even remember what I said. At least that's how I goes. This is cool. I'm not gonna look at it more for your spoilers. The minis are for sure in here, and they come in this dumb box, but this box is better than their other box. It says see storage guide at the back. Let's look at this storage guide. The storage guide says, look, there are 2 trays that clearly fit into each other. Let's make sure you see that. Wow, thanks Trudvang. Really good storage solution. It's so dumb. Here we have some cards that were in a weird positioning. These are just going to be your story cards. I don't think I'm going to search through these that much. I'm not going to open them right now because these I think are pretty important. But they exist. And then the bags. Oh, the bags. Let's see what the bag quality is. Oh, these seem small. These seem too small to fit your hand in. Nope. I'm proven wrong. That's good. It's got a nice wide mouth, which is great. Anyway, I think I got off track. I think I was saying something. Yeah, so there's 2 waves because they got so far behind. And yeah, these all feel nice. They're the barest minimum of quality of bag that I want, honestly. But it is that bare minimum, and it's better than the bags in Massive Darkness, which were just trash. Those are nice, and then we have a bunch more cards, which seem to be, what do we have? We've got events. Oh, these are going to be your character cards. That's great. Here are your event cards, and then we have our different characters. Oh, feats. Oh, different feats for our different characters, because you can get these different classes, and that's how you'll kind of level up. But yeah, I'm excited about the different classes too. I like how the classes were done in Massive Darkness, so I've got big hopes for this one. That's all there is really in the main box. Just a few stack of cards, boom, boom, and then finally onto the minis, which we'll get to as I move things around. What was I saying? I always do this with these unboxings. Oh, good thing I know. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness I know that there's this this sweet storage reminder to really help me know how to put these 2 things back together. Should it go this way? No. Should it go this way? Yeah, no, it fits. Oh, it fits that one. Oh, there's the little angles there. How am I going to solve this problem? I just don't know. The dumbest thing I've ever seen. They look fun enough. There's no sculpted bases, which is starting to become the standard, but again, these were kind of designed way back when, and then they just reimagined the actual gameplay portion of it and the story, basically. Get your little dwarf friend. These are cool. Your Skeletors. Again, like, they're not like really dynamic poses, let's be real. But they're fun enough. I don't really care about that sort of thing. Some people do. I think he's the guy who's like gotten the most art and showcase on their actual campaign page. This is the Bard, Falarian, I think, which is cool. And then you have like the Vintner Weavers. Oh, while I'm showing this, I should get those. We should take a pause. Okay, I got them up, and I'll start showing the other ones, the rest of the minis while we talk about them. It was a cool contest. It was a really cool contest. Gosh, this box. This box makes me just so angry. Like, thanks for the. Oh, okay, I guess the different trays are here. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more reason to have it because it says what the trays are and not just the trays there. So it tells you what goes where. I'm feeling better about it now. God, that was so annoying. yeah, anyway, there's not much to show because Wave 2 is coming with everything. So I didn't get everything. I won, as I said, I won the pledge, which is just the base pledge. And I was thinking about purchasing this game, and then I didn't. And then I won the base pledge, and then I purchased the additional plastic tokens, and then I also purchased the Dwarven expansion for... because Zvakarnir is a dwarf, and I was like, well, in case he gets additional showcase in that sort of one, these guys are cool. I like these beasts. These are better. These feel really chunky too. Like these are ones that I would never need to worry to keep actually in this stupid contraption, which is great because I probably won't. I would be completely fine having these just in it. Honestly, having these in a bag, which like seems sacrilegious. But they're sturdy enough that it feels okay. Oh, there's some ships that we might be sailing around because they're gray, so they're our color. The little archers. Yeah, so I got those 2 expansions basically. But I made 5 entries. I did 5 entries, and I think after this, here's 2 cleavers. We only get one of them, but he's got 2 cleavers. Honestly, he looks great. That's cool. Yeah, I really did a deep dive into like the etymology of every Trudvangian language and where they're located. Oh yeah, see, this is the sort of thing that you want. I'm sure you're gonna get more of these fun big sculpt guys in the stretch goals. Oof, these horns, it's got a nice texture on them too. I'm gonna give them a pass on sculpted bases, but no more. Come on. No more non-sculpted bases. Get with the times. I don't really care. I don't paint my minis anyway. Well, I just let Zach do it if he wants. Oh, look at this. Look at this smiley guy. Look, he's smiling at you. Oh, yeah, and like the bones on the wings. That's cool. Yeah, ooh, he's nice and sturdy too. I would probably keep these in their respective areas, but these other ones, these might bend a bit. They seem like a fairly hard plastic though. I don't know. Yeah, they could bend. They could bend fairly easily. And these Minotaur, yeah, the tails might bend. You can see how they're put together, right? Like they're just slapped on. The top half is a very clear like attachment line right there. Right along there. But whatever, who cares? This is a freaking cool Minotaur. Tell him that. Tell him his freaking back crack is showing and see what that gets you. Probably a mouthful of Minotaur. All right, these go back on for now. I absolutely hate that this doesn't have a lid because it means that either you do something with these characters, which I think I will maybe when I get them, or it means they always have to go back in this stupid box so that they don't get thrown out anywhere. Honestly, I'll probably change that. I think, let's just do that right now. Is this gonna be sacrilegious? I don't care if it's sacrilegious. I know I've got one of these in here. You just take a nice little deck box and you just throw them all in. Bye, honey. Look at that. They're all going to fit so well. This box did not need to be this big. Oh! Goodbye, plastic insert. So long! Hello, everybody. Hello, all characters. In you go. Look at that. The most efficient boxing or unboxing ever. Oh, it could almost fit back in the box. It doesn't have to, but then I can just leave this and I don't have to put this stupid thing back in there, which is fantastic because they suck. I hate friggin' boxes. Give us lids or give me a compressed box. Likely I'll have to, if I like this game enough, I'll make a storage solution for it as as we progress forward. I am excited for this game, though. What was I talking about? I don't remember, and the top camera's going to die before I do. So, you know, let's forget it. It was something about... I covered mainly all the things that I wanted to talk about. The bag building nature of the game, the changes and the production issues that have been going on behind the scenes involved in this game. I just think that these tokens to draw from the bags, I don't know. I'll let you know. I think I'm just being picky. I put the other ones back in. They just feel like they're not gonna be exciting. They're not gonna feel. You want to feel like you're shaking things up, and here they just like they feel like really sort of lightweight. You know, I think that's what it is. I think like tokens like this are fine as like a resource, but when you're actually like shuffling things up and pulling them out, you want something like even just a bit bigger too. Like these seem really small. Whatever, it's a nitpick. Who cares? I try to like be critical, and then I also recognize that like sometimes you're overcritical, and that just, you know, is stupid. And then finally we have plastic rings that of course aren't flexible. They're just what it is. No dice in this game. 0 dice. I don't think I've ever seen a CMON game that hasn't had dice in it. This is a very shocking unboxing. A boxing on shocking. No. That's it. That's it for this base sort of game. I don't know when I'm going to get around to playing it, honestly, because I'm like super backlogged, but I'm very excited that I ended up winning it. It was an awesome contest. Make sure you follow CMON on Facebook. That's where this contest was. And they have had other contests as well. They had like a 12 Days of Christmas contest last year where like you could submit for various promo things. I won a little promo pack for gizmos. That was cool. There were a bunch of other things. They had a contest for Ankh, which my friend Kate was friggin' robbed. She painted herself like a cat. It said, take a picture of you and your cat. This is before I had a cat. She was friggin' robbed. Oh, the board has to go back in there, or one of the boards. Yeah, this is the total board. Yeah, see, this is already just a horrible. Let's just not look. Let's just look the other way as we. God, the things I have done to this game already are offensive to me, and I'm living them, and I can only assume how offensive they will be to you. The size of the box is about, when it's closed, the actual amount, which it is. It is. I'm sure you see that on the camera. It's close to the real amount. It's, let's stand it up, maybe. Oh, God. I gotta do some organizing of this. Maybe it'll go back into this. Maybe it will. Let's do it right now. I gotta do it right now. I'm sorry, but I'll keep talking as we go. Yeah, on Facebook, my friend Kate was robbed. She painted herself as a cat, and it was friggin' awesome. And then they just did a random entry. I think to avoid people like me spending hours and hours and hours researching the behind-the-scenes stuff of the game. Which, on that note, there's the rulebook and the Vegas Sagas. That's good. At least it might be flush with the lid. At least there's that. On that note, as I kind of clean up on aisle 7, I want to say that the stories that I ended up writing for people, and I'm very proud of all of them. I really am. Like I said, I researched the etymology of every single name and every single faction in Trudvang. I really did a deep dive into their, the region where they might have come from, what their standard last names are, how I compare that with existing last names of my friends, and who would fit for what. I also tried to tailor it a bit to my friends' personalities, just because I thought that'd be fun for them to be tagged on Facebook in that regard. Just a stupid amount of of research went into this thing, but it ended up with a really cool game that I am very excited to play, even with all the changes and the. I wish I had my plastic runes, but I'm sure lots of people are in the same boat as well. So I made 5. The first one who I made was for my friend Yuval, who's been on the channel before. He was in the Origins content. So his name's Yuval Grinspan, and so I changed his name to Ulfvar Grimspear. And then going off of the Grimspear, I said, a legend in his own right, Ulfar became the head of the clan Grimspear while defending his village from a band of rogue Korpakali, and that's like the Dark Elf territory. They're the Dark Elf faction of the game. It is said he infused the trees with his righteous anger, and they in turn lent him the use of their branches to finish his fight. So like I'm picturing the fight where they had it. And he eventually ripped the spear from the tree and fought it off. He now owns a tavern south of the Tinder River outside the Copperwoods where any weary traveler can seek refuge for the evening and perhaps hear a tale or two. Because it's an NPC, right? Like, they can't all be heroes. Even if they were heroes in the past, they have to have an existing presence in the world, or could be easily incorporated, is what I was trying to go for. It is said he is one of the only non-elves to be allowed passage through the woods, and is now often used as a mediator between the Korpakali and the Wild Bronze, who inhabit the villages north of the Rim Rapids. So I just, all of that is accurate to the land of Trudvang and the regions of where there is like internal conflict. The Korpakali are in these woods, and they don't like outsiders, but like he earned their respect. Anyway, I like that one a lot. Next, I did Brandon and Zach. Zach Zvakar. I'll save Zach for last because he's the one who won. Brandon, I think Brandon might be my favorite, honestly, is Brandur Noxythrall. His name's Brandon Knox, so Noxythrall. And so I went off the spin of him of like noxious and like poison, and so that's where I went with him. Brandur was stolen from his parents by sea wolves at an early age and sold into the service of a prominent storm Hansa. As with all the thralls under this particular merchant's employ, Brandur was worked tirelessly, forced to scale the many mountain ranges of the Stormlands, harvesting dangerous and potent herbs. So a thrall is a term for like a slave in like the Trudvang lore. And a storm Hansa is just basically a merchant who's like close to the sea. Throughout the years, Brandur gained the trust of his master and watched his work meticulously. When the storm Hansa and his family became mysteriously ill, Brandur faithfully stepped forward, tending to them diligently and easing their woes and administering their medicines. Unfortunately, the illness proved to be too much for the family, and they perished, leaving Brandur to seize the storm Hansa's business and all his holdings. He immediately freed all of his master's former slaves and adopted a surname of his own choosing, Noxythrall, perhaps as a homage to his past, or perhaps as a defiant warrant for all those who would attempt to enslave man for their own personal gain. He has since enjoyed a thriving business, as any and all competitors are often too busy fighting bouts of sickness to provide much competition. I really like that one, the story that it kind of paints there. I don't know. You let me know if this is stupid or not. But I was proud of these and how they exist or could exist in Trudvang. Again, he would be someone who you would go to just buy herbs. So I'm like, yeah, you always have to have a merchant. So let's go buy some herbs from a merchant. Next we'll have Renee Hachet. Her name isn't great, honestly. I wanted to get someone from the Wildlings, which are kind of like the tribe in the north, and they're another sort of human tribe, but like not really. So her name's Vanea Axley. So the Hachet Axley was close. So Vanea is the dark mother of her Wildling tribe, one tribe amongst the many of the Amur clan. An accomplished healer, Vanea's beauty and skill are only matched by her cruelty. It's very fitting for Renee. In fact, she would be a more likely fit for the cannibals of the Arks rather than the Amur, because there's two different tribes of the Wildlings. I told you, deep dive. And perhaps it is this zealous devotion to devouring power from her victims that has cemented her status as one of the most respected Tadzjis in her tribe's history. Tadzjis of her tribe's history. I'm not trying to pronounce that. but I know how to spell it. Many travelers who have been unable to pay the steep price of Anea's healing skills have found themselves the victims of her 2 twin hatchets and added to her supply of soul enhancers. All this is done for the good of her tribe and for future paying customers, and it is with great respect for the dead that she weaves in each victim's index finger bone into one of her many braids. To enter her tent is to enter a nightmare of souls trapped in cages, maimed, all waiting to be devoured. But for the right price, there is no ailment or injury she cannot treat. She is a conduit of death and life and everything in between. It is up to you to decide if the reward is worth the cost. So I picture her as a healer, but, you know, her acts slay nature, and like they have many braids in the wildling tribe as well, and so just her being like this witch doctor and weaving things in, I thought that was kind of cool. And then to capture the elf side of things, my good friend Yazan Sinan, I turned into Ilsenathiel, which is a very common elvish name, at least. Ilsenathiel Vestahaya, just honestly because I like that last name, I thought it sounded cool. A proud warrior during the endless storm, Ilsenathiel spoke to the trees and the air and the stone and all things, and they in turn spoke back. It was Ilsenathiel who first created the ironwood, which is, you know, prominent in Trudvang, and shaped it into the arrows and bones that would strike down worm upon worm until there were none left to ravage the land. This was a big war that happened before the events that are going to currently happen. And then after the Vanir departed, which were like almost an angel level elf, Ilsenathiel found himself gazing upon the stars in search of meaning, as with many of the Ilmalajni. But it wasn't until the age of man that Ilsenathiel found clarity. He was never as troubled as his Iosalfar brothers and sisters, nor as angry and defiant as the Korpakali. Right, those are the 2 kind of levels of elves. Ilsenathiel found himself longing to create works that would honor what the Vanir had left behind and build a way towards an age of deeper harmony with nature. It was through the process of carving yew, ash, black locust, and various woods, infusing them with the power of stones, and creating tools and weapons that would only strike as true as the heart of the wielder, that Ilsenathiel found a peace that has eluded most of his kind. He lives a modest life, weaving his soul into the fibers of every work, happy to share his craft with those who reject evil and strive to shape Trudvang into the world the Vanir once loved. Perhaps then they might return. So I like this idea of this elf craftsman. You don't see a lot of elf blacksmiths, right? And so his being focused into the shaping the materials of the world and infusing himself with like righteous good and only like crafting for good people, if you had like a good and evil system of the game, I thought that would be kind of cool. I think it's cool. And hey, if you're still here, maybe you do too. So that was my concept for him, and to capture like the elves, because they're basically the dark elves and the light elves, and him kind of falling in between and finding that harmony in nature and kind of standing apart from that race, I thought would be kind of neat. And then finally the last one here is Zach Svakarnir, guardian of the deep, bridge master of the great chasm. And so there are 3 sub-races of dwarves in Trudvang lore. And this is how this one starts. Out of the 3 sub-races of dwarves, the Svorda are well known to be enigmas among their own people. They are so few and far between that they stand out in whatever mountain cities they choose to make their homes. Yet even still, Svakarnir stands alone. Dwarves in their youth make the long journey up the stairs from where the Norglavanya, the fair ones, the female dwarfs, the mother dwarfs basically, where they dwell. They are then greeted by the holy Thule and adopted into a bloodline. Svakarnir stopped his journey short and took up residence in a small shack just past the final bridge of the journey. He has never spoken his birth mother's true name and therefore has never been recognized as part of a bloodline. Instead, he remains as the last guardian of the deep, forever both a fierce protector of the way below to the Norglavanya's hold and a gentle shepherd to the young ones that make the great climb up to dwarven society. At a hulking 6.5 feet tall, the largest Svorda on record, often rumored to be more troll than dwarf, Svakarnir has only left his post 3 times when self-proclaimed great nations have tried to take Muspelheim and its precious resources for themselves. Suffice to say, not a single being has ever managed to set 1 foot past him if he did not wish them to do so. He's like the dwarf. So the Zvorda are naturally like super tall dwarfs, because not all dwarves are short in stature. The Zvorda can be like very tall. And so I wanted to make him even just more exceptional and be this potential imposing figure that you really might just wreck you. He might wreck you entirely. He might let you pass. You might be able to get him on your side. I don't know how he has been incorporated, but if he has not been incorporated, and if he has been lost in translation, come on, and the Trudvang team, I am coming for you. And my wrath will be equal to Zvorda and everyone else out there. I thought this would be a shorter unboxing. It certainly is not, because we got into story time. But yeah, this again was before I started the channel. This is like one of the best friggin' days ever, being able to winning a game. I love winning games. I love the experience that comes with it. I love the feeling. I love seeing people win giveaways, and that's why I like talking about giveaways too on this channel if I can, and have done a few just to try to give back. But I am hopeful that this game will be cool, because the lore around it and the world around it is so rich. Like I am remembering the detail that is in Trudvang Legends or in Trudvang Chronicles, and it is in the RPG. And if you're interested in RPGs, honestly, I think check this one out too, because like there's so much lore, so much backstory that like it was easy for me to sink my teeth into and kind of write little blurbs and be creative. That it was a really fun exercise to do. It was a fun world building to do, and to imagine the different archetypes that you could encounter or heroes could encounter as you went on your epic journey. So I'm hoping that Trudvang will be an epic journey. I will absolutely let you all know how it is. I don't know if I'll get there before the additional content comes out, but I'll probably do another unboxing of that content when it happens. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this to get here. This has been a long time coming. This was around the exact same time as Aetherfields, which, hey, if you got the second wave of Aetherfields, it's about the same time. My second wave is on its way, but again, to Canada, it's always a little bit delayed. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out, and hopefully those stories were interesting. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have some legends to explore. I don't know what that was. Let me know which character was your favorite. I think they're all kind of cool. Okay, that's the last I say about it. Bye! I stopped the top version, but it seems like we're still recording. Zach also put one in, and I thought it was... I loved it. It was me. It was me. I could have been in the game. I'm happy Zach's in the game, but I just was scrolling down the comments and reading on other things. Zvris, Jvris, Herhar, for Chris George. The Ballad Singer. As a youth, Zvris, Yvris, Jvris, I think it's probably Yvris, Heryar, something. Yvris, I'm going to call him Yvris. Anyway. As a youth, Yvris knew no fear, and his parents scorned him. The townsfolk mocked him, and his peers turned him aside. For a boy that did not know fear could not learn diligence, or shame, or duty. What good was such a dreaming, careless boy when the winter wolves came howling and hungry, snow piled high? So it was that his parents sent Yvris out on his own to learn him what fear was. He learned many things, for the breadth of the world he traveled, and all the songs and tales he heard he remembered. But he knew nothing of fear even then. He wanders still, spinning tales and singing songs, hoping that somewhere someone would teach him how to shiver. That something might introduce him to dread, that he would come to know fear. I thought that one's kind of cool, too. Just of this wandering bard that you might encounter who does not know fear. That's definitely not me. I'm afraid of my own shadow, but, you know, it's nice to play pretend. Okay, see you later.